Hey guys, how are you?
Hello.
Good evening or afternoon, whenever you're watching this. I believe we're going to try to do this, have it posted on the same time, approximately, or pretty close. At least you'll have it pre-recorded. This is a pre-recorded message. We are in
Colorado
Colorado.
for
Thank
the
you.
week. Yeah. He doesn't even know we're on vacation. He doesn't know where we're at.
We are in Colorado. I think the video went pretty good on there. I'm not sure, but we are in Colorado. We are in Avon, Colorado, if you do not know, and that's approximately about an hour and a half, maybe about an hour and a half,
Yeah.
45 to about almost
An hour and 45
hour
minutes.
45 minutes from
Denver.
Denver. So it's kind of like Flagstaff, right?
Yeah, I would say it's
Kind of like
kind
a
of like a
Flagstaff.
Flagstaff. Yeah.
Really nice over here.
It's definitely a skier's town,
Yes, and right below there is Vale.
right?
Very, very skier type of environment.
Yep.
So we are here. We're here till Friday,
Friday night. Yep.
and then we'll be back Friday night. We are not going to be having Bible study Friday night. So just FYI, so you guys for Harvest, if you want to know, we will not be having Bible study for Friday night. Okay, I think we're coming in pretty late on there, and then I have all
Correct.
the computer stuff and everything, and technology is something that not everyone is
Well, and it's quirky.
well in it. That's right.
It's
Well,
quirky,
that's
so
right. So, just a couple things that I've been working on, and then we're going to kind of talk a little bit about certain things. I have been. Let me pull this over here a little bit. I've been kind of working on this program here. Let me pull this aside. See if I can find it. I got this program, and I thought this would be a great way to kind of, let's say, show grid. Oh, maybe I got to pull it up from here. Here we go. Let me go ahead and go ahead and play just a little bit of it. I'm not going to play it all, but this is just something that I have been kind of working on. There we go. Does it show it a little bit?
yeah. Yeah, it'll show it enough. I think.
So, yeah. Computer's kind of, don't know what's going on here.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay. So, it's kind of like a drawing type of program. So it draws in kind of thing. And what I want to do is what my aim is, what I'm hoping my aim is to use it as a fantastic illustration for the gospel. You know, to kind of talk a little bit about that. And everyone likes that kind of cartoonish type of thing. Kind of gives people attention as the thing draws. So I've been kind of working on this for the past 3-4 days over here in what do you call it, in Colorado. So that's just just kind of a little preview of what I am doing here. So let me bring this back up. And I'm hoping that enable us to kind of use it as a tool for the Lord, you know, kind of use it for a tool for reaching out for people, for giving like little illustrations, videos,
Yeah.
because everyone usually they like to hear things, but sometimes having a visual type of thing. And I've always liked those drawing board type of thing. So the one you just saw is a little generic. I'm really learning the program. I'm learning how to create paths and stuff like that so that I can really use it to kind of bring out a really neat illustration. So hopefully I can become very proficient in it.
As hard as you're working at it, I'm sure you will.
I'm sure I will. So there's not really a lot to do over here in Avon,
Except rest and
except for
relax.
rest. Yes.
It's kind of nice.
Went a little fishing, went out fishing there, and that was kind of nice in that area there. So if you're my Facebook friend, you can always go back, or I'm usually public, but it kind of shows a little video on Facebook on me fishing and some of the pictures that Suzanne shared. But I thank you guys for all your prayers. I want to also give our deep prayer for you know, for us, for our family and friends who lost Pat Knapp. Yesterday, Pat Knapp got in a car accident and died. Pat Knapp, I can't remember how old he's, about 60s. I'd say about 60 something years old.
Yeah.
And
Late 60s
yeah,
maybe.
late 60s. And he got rear ended and turned his car over and went into a ditch. He has a truck, if you guys remember that Toyota truck that he's
Yes.
had forever.
Forever.
That thing probably has like 300,000 miles on it.
Yeah.
And he died. So I believe that Pat had a heart for God, love for the Lord. Anytime he was ever in Phoenix, Arizona, he always stopped by, called, and came to church. I think the last time someone was at church.
Yeah.
Stopped by in Phoenix and was at church at Harvest. Pat was one of the guys that I've known since I pastored with Pastor Kim Adair, Jacob's dad, and knew Pat there. Also, Pat was the one who gave the ministry, pretty much gave me for the ministry the shirt printing, how to do shirts, printing, and all that, and kind of taught me how to do develop shirts, for the glory of God.
Yeah,
So
that was his business for
that was
years.
his business for years. Yeah.
So it was kind of a blessing that fell into our lap.
Yeah. So it is a sad thing. He will be missed, and we just pray for all those family and friends who are going to miss him. It's a sad thing,
It is sad.
we don't know what to do. We don't know how to, it's just one of those things. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
But it is what it is. So our prayers for the family and friends on that.
Mhm.
All right. So today on our truth perspective, we have a couple subjects that we want to talk about, and I'm just going to kind of give you a little brief type of thing, debate on one nation under God. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the powerlifting records that have been passed. Then and then we have, I think I have it on the, if you could take a look at your Facebook thing, also on there.
Did you send it to me from?
I think so. Yeah, it's on your message. So I guess we'll do with the first one here, and this is in reference to the issue of um, the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, and I think I have an article. Is that correct? Did I have an article on that one? That one I have to do. Okay, so let's go ahead. As you guys know, if there's something that's under attack, our faith in Christ is under attack. Faith itself is under attack.
Right.
In America, it seems like America has taken a side in the sense of trying to eliminate religion as a whole. More than just that, trying to remove religion as a whole and try to integrate its own ways and its own beliefs and its own faiths into our world.
I wouldn't even say faiths, but
its own ideas.
I think that's a better word.
Yeah, they're its own ideologies.
Yeah.
So here's a video, and this is going to be kind of back and forth, commenting. It's not a major video, but this was on the news just recently in reference to. Let me go ahead and just put this here. I think it was. Let's see if I can find it. Is it this one? So, and this is pretty much what we do. We just kind of go through some of our most current news, anything that pops out that really kind of puts into our heart. Oh, this looks good. This looks like something that I think the church should talk about. And one of the things, I guess maybe it's not here. Maybe there isn't one. Maybe it's not on this thing. The one on the removing of the flag, the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, it's okay. I'm not going to put it up there. I'm not going to spend too much time on it. All right, so let's take a look at here. Okay, here we go.
Welcome to a new Daily Top Ask Reddit video. Today's topic:
would you be opposed to removing one nation under God from the Pledge of Allegiance, and why, or why not? One nation under God wasn't added to the pledge until 1954, so yeah, it can be removed. And should be.
I think was one nation under God not put in there until 1954. Let's fact check that, because let's fact check this. The one nation under God in 1954. It just seems like there you go. Last change in language came on Flag Day 1954 when Congress passed a law which added the words "under God" after one nation. Oh, really? That's interesting.
That is interesting.
So that's interesting to know that. So 1954, they added one nation under God. Okay. So obviously, yeah.
Yeah, and it was done by President Eisenhower. He signed a bill adding one nation under God.
Interesting. All right, let's read on. We just learned something. I just learned something, right? Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was put in as part of the peak of the anti-commie fad. Apparently, they thought communists would recoil in fear like vampires at mention of God. I hate that they inserted it into the middle of what was one country indivisible. thus symbolically dividing the country by interjecting their personal religious preference. One nation, under Canada, above Mexico. Robin Williams. Further proof that that man was too good for this world. I'm okay with
Yeah, I would say that Robin Williams, too good for this world.
Mhm.
Yeah, he decided to go kill himself. The guy was always on drugs. This is the type of the nonsense that we hear. I mean, all right, let's go. We don't want to deteriorate his already blemished
Well, it's just
reputation.
all it is it's putting. Why do we even care what we stars, movie stars, rock stars?
Yeah,
What do we care what they say?
yeah, yeah. Okay.
I'm Christian, but it needs to be removed from all public buildings and our money. All are tantamount to government establishment of religion.
First of all, you are not Christian. Okay, I mean, any person who is a Christian would definitely not want one nation under God and taken out of our money. In God we trust, and all others pay cash.
Right?
It's like
Yeesh.
I mean, really, you call yourself a Christian and you're like, I want God taken out of, come on, give me a break. That's not how it works.
No, it
Okay,
isn't.
that's not how it works. You can't be a Christian.
Just people being ignorant.
Yeah, the pledge though is an abomination and should be entirely removed. Okay, all right, whatever.
Religion. And violate the First Amendment. The pledge, though, is an abomination and should be entirely removed. Our country fought for its independence to be able to be free of pledges of fealty and forced recitation is something that gets douchebags like Kim Jong-un hard. Seeing your comment got me thinking about the Christian perspective on this.
Did you like how this person who's a Christian decided to use some form of derogatory profanity?
Right.
And this is the ridiculousness.
It is ridiculous.
Let me just say this. I'm going to say this as a Christian, not only as a Christian but as a pastor. If you are still using profanity in your language, you got to cut that out. Okay.
It is a horrible witness.
Shame on you. Grow up. Stop using profanity. And if you are just believing, if you just started believing, it's just something that's going to have to be kind of cleaned out and seasoned out of your life. You got to be very careful. Our words to be seasoned with salt. The Bible says that do not let any corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth. Okay, profanities, curses, things like that should not be coming out of your mouth. Okay, like that. All right.
Mhm.
All right. Let's go.
And I have to think that money is one of the last things Jesus would want to be associated with. We live in the South, so even though we don't go to church, my daughter picks up religious things here and there. A few weeks ago I was telling her about Jesus turning over the money changers' tables at the temple. And then read to her the whole passage where he rails on the Pharisees, and we talked about how much Jesus would hate American Christianity. It was inserted by...
Okay, so that's...
Well, that's kind of an interesting statement. So I'm a non-believer, but I read this passage and then talked about how much Jesus wouldn't like
American Christianity. I'm in agreement with her.
Disagree with, you know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of American Christianity that I don't think Jesus would be very happy about.
Yeah, absolutely. I've kind of always been that type of perspective of saying, hey, you know what? I think definitely American Christianity which we have in America is definitely polluted.
Amen.
Okay?
Amen.
Congress in the early 50s as a reaction to the Red Scare. And even though the original pledge has socialistic origins, I'm not a fan of pledging loyalty to a government. Loyalty to governments can be earned and lost. Interestingly, plenty of countries had these pledges in WW2. Only the USA kept theirs after the end of the war. Yeah, my French wife thinks it's really creepy that such young kids say it in a monotone hypnotic voice. Daily. I never thought about it until she mentioned it. It was just something we did. The fact you have a pledge at all is weird. Sincerely, the rest of the world. In Texas the kids have the American pledge and the pledge to Texas, which is wild to me. First of all, a pledge in school is just ridiculous. Then, you have a pledge to your country and the state you live in. So which is it? Your state or country? Which is more important? The whole thing is so dumb. And kids need to know that they cannot be compelled to say either pledge. Texas has basically always wanted to be their own country. That's why. See also, their electrical grid. Get rid of the entire pledge. It's super creepy to have children literally pledge their allegiance to the US flag every single day. Yeah. Very. Your neighbor to the north has always found this weird. Having to sing the national anthem and Lord's Prayer. Catholic school was already weird enough, to be honest. Remove it. Stop forcing your religion onto the rest of us. And take it off our money too while you're at it. Even better, change it to one nation over God because God is our bitch now. Our gods are dead. Ancient Klingon warriors slew them a millennia ago. They were more indoctrinating and it's creepy as hell.
All right, we'll kind of stop right there. So obviously you can tell that there's already issues. I mean, this is going to be the norm for society. You know, a place where you have a people that are anti-flag. Okay, I'm not saying that, you know, like the flag is like, oh, we need to you know, bow down to it, or, you know, honor it.
Definitely.
But it's the symbol of the flag is kind of shows you our love for our country. Okay, I mean, I love my country. America is the greatest country in the whole world. I love it. I know that a lot of people may claim themselves to think otherwise, you know, and but I'll tell you why. You know, I've lived in other. I haven't lived in other countries, and I'm sure there are other countries that are very, very beautiful. But the protection that we have in America, with our Constitution, with our access to attorneys, laws, and all these things, secures our nation. And what's trying to happen is there's this strong globalist union, this globalist society that is trying to remove uh, God, Christianity, our faith, anything, even God himself, out of our nation, out of our country. There are other countries that do have, you know, God. For example, Muslim countries, you know, have God in their place. So it's not just other countries not having God, as much as our nation uh, having God and having the Constitution and other rights that protect us.
Right.
Right?
Well, and again, we go back to things we've said before. You know, our nation was um, built on godly principles. Our
Yeah.
nation was founded by godly men. You know, and so it's one of those things where it's going to be hard to separate because it's shown in so many different ways
Yeah.
that that's how it was meant to be.
And we need. It's so important that we try to do our best to keep it. I love history. Um, I've not so much read as much as I've watched a lot of documentary histories. But I mean, there's a lot of nations like the European nations, kingdoms, Scotland, Ireland, England. You know, we've watched all those documentaries and movies and shows that talked about how they honored God in their even in
Right.
their, you know, the king and all that, and where they are now and how they've slowly you know, remove themselves from this type
Right.
of thing. We in our nation, we're only like less than 300 years old. I can assure you this, less than 300 years old, and we are already trying to mimic nations that took years, hundreds of years, uh, before they found themselves away from God. We're trying to do it in less than 300 years. I mean,
Well, welcome to
you know,
America.
we're trying to microwave ourselves straight to hell. Okay, that's what's happening here, and we can definitely see the change in our world, in our nation, by these people who are doing such things. Okay,
That's true.
all right, let's take a look at his other video. Which one do you want to do next? You want to do
Um,
this one, or do you want to do the one? Uh, you know what? Let's do this one.
it's there. Let's do it.
Let's do it. It's over here anyway.
And in Melbourne.
Okay, here we go. So, as you guys know, uh, Suzanne and I, we, we're kind of like, man, we just hate talking about this transgender stuff. That's always like, it just seems like it's a forefront of our news so much these days.
Right.
Other than, of course, remove country, remove God, remove, you know,
Right.
thing. But this again is just another show of what's happening here. So let's listen to this.
As we speak, Susie
No, not that one.
Sun is still with us, and Stephen Senatiempo in Canberra, breakfast host of Radio 2CC. I want to show both of you a little moment in sport. We're speaking about women's sport and how brilliantly it's going for Australia at the moment. Let's have a look at this athlete winning a record in women's weightlifting in Canada. That's Anne Andres, 40 years old.
Hold on one second. I don't know what did I just do? No. Where'd it go?
I don't know.
There it
There.
is.
All right.
All right,
Rewind.
let's rewind. Let's do
And
this.
in Melbourne, as we speak, Susie O'Brien from the Herald Sun is still with us, and Stephen Senatiempo in Canberra, breakfast host of Radio 2CC. I want to show both of you a little moment in sport. We're speaking about women's sport and how brilliantly it's going for Australia at the moment. Let's have a look at this athlete winning a record in women's weightlifting in Canada. That's Anne Andres, 40 years old, a biological male who's a transgender woman now, identifies as a woman, and just smashed that record. A lot of the women didn't bother competing against her. Susie, is this fair play?
So this guy comes in and he crushes the record.
So dumb.
If you want to know how much he crushes it by, where's the next video here? This next video of this lady.
And in Melbourne, as we speak, Susie O'Brien from the Herald Sun is still with us, and Stephen Senatiempo in Canberra.
Okay, where is there we go. Truth Perspective, there we go. This guy crushes it by, here we go.
Hi, my name is April Hutchinson. I'm a competitive powerlifter with the Canadian Powerlifting Union. 2 days ago, we saw a biological male literally crush the women's masters powerlifting category by almost 500 pounds, taking away the national records, also the second highest deadlift in powerlifting history. So men don't have an advantage, right? Okay. It's so important to keep women and girls sports fair and safe. We need to use our voices, men and women, to let everyone know that fairness and safety has to be top priority of every federation. Any woman, man, or federation that supports men lifting or competing with women is part of the problem, and they should be ashamed, and they are literally helping erase women's sports. So I ask you, please use your voice. You will not be silenced. It is imperative to speak up. We are the majority, not the minority. We speak truth and facts. Bodies play sports, not identities. Thank you.
Okay, pretty good point. Bodies play sports, not identities. I think
That's crazy. And over like 500 pounds.
500 pounds, folks.
That's crazy.
Not just,
if I was not that I'm athletic, but if I was
And in Melbourne, as we speak,
and this was going, that has to be frustrating.
Yeah.
And it's like the first one said, they were like, a lot of women didn't even bother competing.
Yeah, they didn't bother
competing. Because why? Why would you? Like, why would you waste your time knowing that this man who's going to lift more than you can is going to win?
Yeah. It just seems so unfair.
And the fact that the thing that frustrates me is that people don't seem to be bothered by it outside of some of these women athletes. It's like society is just like, oh yeah, let them do it. The outrage, it doesn't compute in my mind that there's not a bigger outrage about this.
Yeah. I think it's getting there. I think right now a lot of people they don't feel like they're affected, or whatever it may be. I mean, take a look at, let's say, take a look at Brenna. Okay. I'm trying to figure out some female athletes. Okay. Let's take a look at Brenna. Brenna, she's into bike riding.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what if a teenage boy who calls himself a girl starts competing against her? Now, Brenna is pretty good. I mean, she's a pretty good biker. Like, I think if she's still in there, whatever it may be. But if she's competing now with guys and, they're kind of like, you know what? And they start beating her. I mean, it's not going to be fair to her.
Right.
Okay. I mean, it really isn't going to be fair for her, to sit there and have to compete against boys. I have 7 girls, and if my girls are into sports and then they have to now compete against guys on certain sports, There's going to be a problem. Now, see, I don't mind, like, there's certain skills, there's certain sports that, for example, I think whether you're a girl or a guy, you should compete in. It should be unisex. Like, for example, billiards.
Okay. I was like, okay, yeah.
Billiards, right? Billiards, it doesn't require strength. It doesn't require, stamina of any sort. It doesn't require
There's
muscle.
skills. It's just
It's
skill.
skills. Okay, billiards is a skill. Dart throwing. I'm not sure if that's something. Okay. Let's see. What
Maybe
other?
skiing,
Maybe skiing.
because skiing doesn't seem to be. I
Yeah,
mean, I don't ski, but I would think that skiing wouldn't be one
yeah.
or the other.
I mean, skiing. Maybe females have a better advantage in some cases. In skiing
I
or.
mean, even in basketball to a certain extent, I would say.
Hmm,
I mean, because,
I mean, it just depends on how rough. How
yeah, well,
physical.
I don't know. The girls can be pretty rough. I've seen on some of
Yeah,
these videos,
yeah.
but
So, I mean, there are certain sports which should be unisex. Maybe even some soccer, but some guys are fast. There's guys that are faster,
yeah,
because guys may be faster and stuff like that. But so soccer may not be one that,
yeah,
but there should be something that is unisex that whether you're a guy or a girl, you should be able to compete in. But powerlifting,
right,
I mean, even swimming, that Riley lady and all this stuff, you would think, okay, so what's the solution? How, okay, like for example, these days we're not dealing with the homosexual agenda. We're dealing with people who now want to change their gender and they want to now kind of infiltrate and infect sports, sports things. And it is an infection, folks. It is a straight infection of these people. They want their cake and they want to eat it too.
yeah,
They want to come in there. The Bible says the thief doesn't come but to steal, kill, and to destroy. Okay, now
right,
this person who wants to be a girl doesn't just want to be a girl, but this dude wants to be a girl and then a woman, and then he wants to come in and steal, kill, and to destroy all the other women that are
that's right,
there who are real women and try to take away what truly belongs to them,
right,
which is records, medals, scholarships, money, all these things. Okay, and there's going to be a stop. There has to be a stop. I mean, how far will this go before people are like, this is in Australia, and you can see in Australia they're already going, hey, there's a problem here.
yeah,
Our neighbors above the Canada, the queers up there, are now starting to really spread out. You can see Canada's become. Imagine 5 years from now, you look at Canada, you'll see what America is going to probably look like if we allow those cowards up there to try to infiltrate what we are doing down here in America. Um, are now trying to warn all the queers and the gays. Oh, you better be careful when you go down to America, because I was just saw a news article just 2 days ago about how open should you be if you're traveling in America. You know what I mean? It's like crazy stuff. Now, of course, I might have an algorithm. I'm sure I do on my Google that has these articles that
they
pop up.
pop up, right,
That shows me that this is what aren't. But even if it is, that it's scary that we even have these articles at all.
right,
Okay, I mean, to have the algorithm, is okay, but to have actual news of this coming out is ridiculous. That people are actually writing and dealing with this. Okay,
yeah,
but this is our current news, folks. This is the current news. What is happening in our world today? We're
right,
seeing a lot of this changing world. So, all right, so you would think, how can we deal with this? Like, for example, my children go to Peoria Unified School District, and my other kids go to Washington, right?
Washington
Washington Unified School District,
Elementary School District.
elementary school district. And just recently, the Peoria Unified School District has finally declared, oh, it's okay for transgender to use
The
the
bathroom.
bathrooms, locker rooms. Okay, and so of course our kids uh, go to a little bit more, I guess, more would you say conservative? Not, I wouldn't say conservative. The families are a little bit more like, I don't know. What would you say?
In Peoria?
Yeah. Ironwood is kind of, it's not like a too loose of a school.
Right.
I mean, they have a lot of Christian clubs. They have, certain things like that. They're pretty, they're kind of like not in my neighborhood type of people. It's not something like Cortez, I guess you would say. Though it is there, it's there, and I'm not trying to say.
It's still discreet, I would say.
I would say, yeah, it's not like they're all the way out of the closet. Like, for example, Wally Burger had his school across the street called North
North
Point.
Point.
That place was the closet. That wasn't not like getting out of the closet. That was the closet. Okay, I mean that school was bad. Okay, so um, so they're allowing now transgender to use restrooms. So a guy who calls himself a girl goes into a girl's locker room and starts undressing and shows his male genitalia, okay, to other females that are in that area.
Well,
Okay,
they're saying it's allowed.
it's allowed. They're
It has
saying
not happened.
it has not happened, but it's allowed. And so a lot of people I think, scream falsely things like, oh, a sexual assault that's going to occur and all this stuff. I don't think that's really the issue. I think as much as I don't want any of my daughters to be looking at a guy, and I don't want a guy to be looking at a girl. Like, if even if a guy who calls himself, who's delusional and calls himself a girl, is in the locker room, and my daughter needs to change, it's just as, even if she's in her underwear, for the guy to be looking, whether he's interested or not interested.
We're not interested.
Okay, I mean, guys, listen. Girls, what I mean is, like, even if he's interested or not
Right.
interested, that's why females go to female doctors. Some women are like, I need a doctor. I need to find a female doctor because, when the
Right.
doctor's like, let me check your heart, and he's got to, stick the
Right.
stethoscope to test the heart. Women are not comfortable with a guy,
Some women, yes. for
even
sure.
if he's a doctor, to stick his hand up to hear the heart,
Right.
or to examine whatever it is. Some women don't like that. They don't want that. So they go and they find usually a female physician, right?
Right.
Because they're okay, yeah, she's going to check my heart, check my lungs, or whatever tests that doctor needs to make. And that's a professional doctor, and they could be like, well, he's just professional. Usually gynecologists are female. I mean, I think I've ran into like one.
No, there's quite a few.
There's
men.
quite a few men
There's quite a few-
gynecologists.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of men
I
gynecologists.
mean,
out
that
there.
just seems kind of weird.
But I mean, but traditionally, I think it's been like, if you think back to it, I mean, we've been married 23 years.
Yeah.
When we first got married, there weren't as many women doctors out there. There were women doctors, don't get me wrong, but it was still a majority male.
Predominantly male.
And, but now I would say there's quite a few women. I don't know if you'd say 50-50, but I mean, it's easy to find a female gynecologist now.
Yeah.
Back in the day, and it wasn't uncommon back in the day to go to a male doctor as a female because that was what the tradition was more.
Gotcha.
I guess is what you would say.
Yeah.
But I know as a woman, I prefer to go see a woman, especially when it comes to like an OBGYN or a GYN, because it's really hard to talk to a man about women issues because he has no idea what that feels like.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what it's like to have a baby growing inside of you, or he can have all the book knowledge, but he doesn't have the actual knowledge. That's why I personally have chosen to go to women doctors most of my life, because I think it's one of those things where how are you going to talk to me about female issues if you don't understand what it feels like?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's like a man trying to explain to me how he feels. Very strange. How would you do that?
Yeah. That'd be kind of different. I don't know.
It'd be weird.
I'm sure. So my whole perspective of what I'm trying to get to is, instead of trying to solve the issue here, we have professors who are coming out And like this professor here, her name is Katja Time, and she, a journalist professor, claims children should be exposed to adult genitalia to prepare them for seeing naked trans people in the locker rooms. Okay,
That is so odd.
this type of.
That is so
I'm trying to figure out
bizarre.
why I can't. Why it's not there. We go. There we go.
There you go. That is a strange take on this.
So this type of stuff right here, when you're when you read this and you're like, what?
Yeah.
So according to University of British Columbia staff member, the world would thank parents for it.
No.
Thyme had been tweeting after being sent a video of swimmer Riley Gaines, who has been an open critic of transgender athletes. We kind of spoke a little bit about her. Claims that children should be exposed to adult genitalia, prepare them for the possible of seeing naked trans person in a shocking jab to swimmer Riley Rains, which is kind of like an almost an open confession that this is definitely an awkward thing for kids to see
Right.
that. So I mean, they're kind of admitting that this is an issue. Had made a comment on Twitter. Dime, who teaches at the University of British Columbia, has been tweeted a video of Gaines explaining the effects of having to compete against transgender swimmer Leah Thompson. And I think this lady's missing the point.
Yeah.
This is not about just only about when Riley's having an issue. This is not only about an issue of watching genitalia, but for Riley, it's about swimming, right? In a lengthy responsive video in which Times blasted Gaines, who also tweeted, "Hey, want to know one of my all-time excellent parenting ideas? Let little children see
All the stuff.
all this stuff, etc." So obviously, you can tell just by the picture. I think this is her. Yeah,
Yes.
straight out liberal,
Yeah.
garbage, wicked, evil, demonic. To say the least, demonic type of thing. And she calls herself a professor. These people should be like kicking them out. They create for themselves their own type of what do you call it? Let's take a look at this video here.
That's ridiculous.
Okay, let me see. All right. Oop. Boom. Okay, come on. Okay, this isn't going to. There we go. Okay, I think this should do. There we go. All right, stop just for a second.
Repeats the same. So this kind of just repeats the same.
There. The first time I saw them in there, he was in a woman's swimsuit sitting in the corner of the locker room, just sitting there watching. Okay. I mean, this 16-year-old is took aim at Gaines for standing with 16-year-old Illinois swimmer Abigail, who were accused of hate speech as she protested the presence of a biological male in the women's locker room at her local YMCA. Yeah, I mean, this is the type of stuff like they now girls don't have rights.
Right.
We're gonna remove all you female rights, and we're gonna put this transgender right above your right, and we're gonna have them sit there and violate your rights. I mean, this is the perversion of what it is. And this professor thought that the best thing for them to do is, well, maybe these girls, 16-year-old girls, should be exposed to this is perversion, folks. This type of stuff is what people should be arrested for and
100%.
be considered a child predator.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, this woman should be charged with as child endangerment. She's in the position of being a professor in a university, and the university is like sitting there going, I pray to God that somebody would have some common
Right.
sense.
There would be some
And
repercussion.
someone says to this person, "Are you kidding me? You want children to be exposed to opposite sex genitalia? Are you a pervert? Are you a pedophile? What is your problem?" Suzanne and I, as a matter of fact, speaking of pedophilia, which I think this woman, that professor, is probably a pedophile because her actions are very pedophile wise. And what a pedophile is these are people who prey on children.
Right.
Okay, they prey on children. And I think that this is nothing less than being a predator, a child predator, and trying to expose your stuff on other people. What does this woman want to do? Hey, can I show my stuff to boys? Hey, maybe these guys can show their stuff to the girls. This is the type of perversion we're seeing.
Right.
Suzanne and I, we did an interview several years ago with a guy who was gay. He had asked us for a food box, and then he had pulled us aside and talked to us and told us, kind of the insight. He's like, "I'm no longer practicing homosexual," and so as talking to
We should
us,
find that video.
as he's talking to us, he says to us that the number one goal of the homosexual agenda, and we had to blurt out his face because he's like, because I asked him, I said, "Can Suzanne and I interview you? We want to do an interview?" He says, "Yeah, but I don't want to show my face because I don't want retribution." Retaliation.
Retaliation.
Retaliation. So we blot out his face, but he told us that the number one thing that the homosexual agenda does is it preys on teenage kids who are going through puberty. Their goal, or confused, their goal is to start them there because they are easier to prey on. They're easier to, and he says that type of stuff made me sick.
Right.
And then he says, because I believe I have these desires because when I was young, I was molested. He was molested by his grandfather, wasn't he?
I believe so.
His grandfather or something like that. And he found himself in this situation. This is perversion, folks.
It is.
This is the garbage that is being said here.
Well, and not only that, before you go on, we also were talking yesterday, this is what our world says we should accept. We should accept men being in a women's locker room and women looking at being able to look at them and the men being able to look at the women and whatnot. And that should be no problem. But then, I think it was yesterday we were talking about the guy who owned the boat.
Yeah.
And the guy was out on the lake, owned this boat, no one's around, literally was like, he looked around, no one's around, and in guy form, they can pee anywhere. He went to the bathroom. He just went off the side of his boat. Personally, I think that is the best part of being a man. You can just go wherever you want to go. But, and before he could get done, some person came around out of this cove, out of nowhere. And the next thing he knows, the police show up. And he is ticketed, or I don't think he was arrested.
Ticketed, goes to
He had to go to court.
Indecent exposure.
And is now has to register as a sex offender for the rest of his life because he was peeing off the side of a boat by himself, and this person just showed up.
Yeah, and he didn't think anything of it. When the sheriff asked him, "Hey, a family said that they came across and you were urinating off the side of your boat. Is that true?" And the guy was like, "Yeah, I had to go pee there. There's no one around. They just popped out of nowhere." I think he did not think that was
it would get to the degree it was. And this is the thing that I don't understand about
so if you ever get caught peeing in public, don't ever admit
to it.
I don't care. They're like, "Well, I just saw you." You're like, "You didn't see anything. I don't know what I was spitting." Okay.
Right.
I mean,
but this is the stupidity of our society.
Yeah.
Like, they strain at a gnat and swallow a camel.
Yep.
They are straining at these little things where, people are doing like these little things. And now this poor guy's life, because he peed off of his boat, has forever been altered.
Yeah. Too bad he couldn't claim transgender then.
Right.
What are you talking about?
Like, I'm a girl. But, but yet this is happening on the other side. And it seems like people aren't even batting an eye at it.
Yeah.
It just does not make sense to me.
It is garbage.
It's a very hypocritical society.
Yes, it is. Here, let's watch the rest of this. Okay, so I think this is in response against incidents involving women who are uncomfortable after encountering biological males in change rooms. Okay, so this is yeah. Thanks for sharing, buddy. So this is the professor, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Yeah, she probably made it, what do you call
Private,
it?
because people
Private, probably because people are like crazy. You pervert! They probably
Yeah.
told. I would have said the same thing to her.
This woman
you
is
crazy. You crazy lady. Are
Hi,
you insane?
And in Melbourne, as we
I don't know. I thought I was pausing it. But
No. Keep going to
Hi, my name is April Hutchinson. I'm a
this woman
okay, there we go. All right. So yeah, this person, these people were crazy. You know what I mean? All right. So let's end with this. Our program is about to end. Let's end on a good note.
Praise God.
So good, so good. Let's end on a good note. So
It's always good to have good news.
before we do that, I just want to kind of again remind everyone that this coming up Sunday we are starting a new series in what do you call it? The story of Moses. So if you are, make sure you invite somebody. Let them know to come on over as we start the series. I'm going to do my best so that the series doesn't drag on because there's so much information. And we're like, oh, we're going to be talking about Moses for the 10th week. So I'm really going to try to keep it more of on the perspective. We were at the pool yesterday and I was witnessing to this old couple, right? And when I talk to people, I'm real loud.
I think you could have just said you're real loud.
I'm real loud anyway.
He's just loud.
But the guy, so I began by asking the guy, oh yeah, what did you do for a living? And kind of talking, stuff like that. And then he asked me, what do I do? And I said, well, and then I said, well,
He shared his testimony.
I'm a pastor. I'm a pastor of a church in Phoenix, Arizona. I said, that's what I do for a living. I said, but to survive, to feed me and all that, I have this business. And then I said, well, and then I went on, for I believe, and then I went in and I started telling about my whole testimony. And I was loud telling everyone about Jesus, right? Anyway, I told them about Jesus and we started talking and then ran into another couple in the pool, overheard me. They were Christians. They came in, they sat down, we were having a conversation. And in the conversation, I got excited and I started telling them about the sermon. And they're like, yeah, my sister, she lives in Phoenix. And I was like, oh, she needs to come over. I said, come on over, check us out. Cause she's like, oh, she went to GCU. I'm like, oh, she needs to come to Harvest. And I said, I'm starting a new series on Moses and how Moses and the Israelites and Pharaoh and all those. I said, we see the spirit of Pharaoh here in this world already. You can see the correlation between, Moses, Pharaoh, and the world and how they closely are so similar and all these things. And so I started sharing some of the points and they're like, whoa, they're kind of like, and then even the wife came out from there and she comes and sits down over there. She started really getting interested. I'm like telling, and it's so I'm really excited about the series. So get involved in that series. I think you're going to be very, very blessed. Maybe not as blessed as I am on it.
I don't think anybody's going to be as blessed as you are, but
I know.
But I've been listening to everything he's come up with so far, and it's good. I mean, it's stuff that like I never thought about it. I mean, I've heard the story.
Yep.
But the correlations are pretty remarkable.
And I'll give you one sneak peek.
Yeah.
Just one.
For the 1000th
For,
time.
just this one's a one sneak peek so you understand. All right, so the very first miracle that Jesus did was turn what?
Water into wine.
Water to wine. Okay, water to wine. The very first plague that Moses did was what?
Turn water into blood.
Water to blood. Water to blood, water to wine. Okay? I mean, those are the very first plague, very first miracle in the ministry.
Right. There's a lot of correlations.
Yeah.
And it is very interesting.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, whether you're a new believer or you're aged believer, it's very interesting.
I'll give you even one last one, which I didn't even tell Suzanne this one. Okay. The last plague that freed the Israelites was the very firstborn dying in Egypt.
Yeah.
The last thing that freed humanity is the firstborn begotten of Christ, God, dying on the cross.
That's right.
The firstborn dying in Egypt, the firstborn dying on the cross. They both ended. They're both deaths brought life.
That's true.
And freedom. That's just, I'm telling you. Ooh, that's just, I'm telling you. See, you didn't hear that one.
I didn't hear it. Well,
I never shared that one with you.
Well, we did talk about death, but no, I guess not in that way. But
Yeah.
it is very interesting. You believe me, you'll be blessed.
Yeah,
So make sure you're there.
Amen. All right, so here's this story. This is a pretty neat story. Here you go.
This woman is drenched.
My shoes are sopping wet.
What happened? Jessica Bauer just saved her neighbor from drowning.
I think I saved a little kid's life today.
The youngster, who is autistic, can be seen on a Ring camera heading right into the lake. His grandmother, who was babysitting, screams.
He's in the water!
Without hesitation, Jessica tosses her phone and jumps right in.
I just threw my phone and ran in, and I'm not a good swimmer.
All I can do is doggy paddle.
Yet you jumped into the water to save this child's life, potentially risking your own.
Yeah, I did not think much into it.
I'm so scared because I have a 3-year-old.
The little boy's mom thanks her hero.
She's literally an angel from above, especially for being at the right place at the right time.
Drowning is the leading cause of death.
My shoes are sopping wet.
What happened? Jessica Bauer just saved her neighbor from drowning.
I think I saved a little kid's life today.
The youngster, who is autistic, can be seen on a Ring camera heading right into the lake. His grandmother, who was babysitting, screams.
He's in the water!
Without hesitation, Jessica tosses her phone and jumps right in.
I just threw my phone and ran in, and I'm not a good swimmer.
All I can do is doggy paddle.
Yet you jumped into the water to save this child's life, potentially risking your own.
Yeah, I did not think much into it.
I'm so scared because I have a 3-year-old.
The little boy's mom thanks her hero.
She's literally an angel from above, especially for being at the right place at the right time.
Drowning is the leading cause of death among autistic children, but not on this day, thanks to this brave woman.
The
lack of editing. I'm going to try to kind of put it up there, maybe whatever it is. So just a couple of announcements. We have really nothing this coming up week other than, of course, the message. But next week we got Jones Memorial, on Saturday morning, and then of course our Sunday morning luncheon. If you are interested in joining Sunday night, please RSVP.
Sunday
afternoon for Jones luncheon. RSVP. In honor to Joan
that
Memorial.
way we know how much to prepare.
That's right. So if you can RSVP for Jones, thing there, that would be great. That would, yep. And then we might do something for Pat too. I'm not sure. Definitely going to get a hold of his daughter, and kind of talk about that. But Pat was a good friend of ours anyway, and a member of the church for many years. You can even see him on some of our earlier pictures of the videos in our sermon or in our pictures, right?
Right.
He was there when we were in Osborne, and when we first purchased, what do you call it?
The one here.
The one here before he moved over to Sholo or St. John's. St. John's.
Was he here before we moved to St. John's?
Yeah.
I thought he had moved to St. John's by then.
No, I think he was here because isn't there a picture of him? He was sitting kind of where Bob and Marty were sitting.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'll have to look.
But so please pray for that family. So and then also don't forget the
The
outreach.
outreach.
If you are interested in getting water bottles, things like that, there's a list there. That's going to be on the 24th. If you'd like to help volunteer, there's all kinds of things. Pray on it. Ask the Lord how and where you could be led
Used.
and be
Amen.
used
Amen.
for that. Amen. Continue to pray for Bob and Marty's heart thing. Noah.
That's
If we pray for Noah, please pray for Mike Kane. Michael Kane knows his Marty's brother. Got a hold of him yesterday. He spoke to me. He was live, and we're speaking. And I'm praying. We're told him we're praying for him, and he thanks everyone for prayer, and praying not only just for his healing, but for his spiritual healing, for
Amen.
salvation
Amen.
in his life. So
Amen.
please pray for that. Please pray for harvest, continued blessing upon our fellowship.
Amen.
And again, continue praying for Suzanne and I as we are on our R&R time, and as the Lord reflects in the things that he does.
Amen.
I love you guys. We love you. May the Lord bless you. May Christ be with you. And we look forward to seeing many of you soon.
Amen. God bless you
God
guys.
bless you. Christ be with you.